Rابغ. Welcome to Rابغ. Our mission is to maximize stakeholders' value with our integrated resources in a sustainable, world-class manner. Rابغ's core value statement on safety is adopting and maintaining the highest standards of security, safety, and environmental protection in the workplace and the community. This safety orientation is required before you are given a plant ID to enter Rابغ facilities. This is necessary for your safety when working here, as well as safety of others. To proceed for the Rابغ ID permit, the following documents are required. A copy of Saudi identification card for Saudi nationals. An Iqama or passport for non-Saudis, supported with a referral letter from the parent company or sponsor. If you are carrying a laptop or any electronic device, you need to register such devices at the security office. The safety vision of Rابغ is to have Rابغ as the safest place to work in among the recognized oil and petrochemical companies worldwide. This is supported by hardware, processes, and qualified and experienced employees. Safety is an integral part of the company's culture. Safety is also a part of the company's core values, namely safety, integrity, challenging spirit, unity in action, and social responsibility. Rابغ has well laid out quality, health, safety, and environment policy guidelines to translate safety vision into action. The safety vision and QHSE policy contents of Rابغ are achieved through the implementation of Corporate Safety Management System, CSMS. While entering the Rابغ facility, you need to know the company's basic safety rules, which shall be followed by you for your own protection and the protection of others. Following are the Rابغ basic safety rules. All incidents or injuries, including fires, spills, release, vehicle accidents, no matter how small, must be immediately reported. All unsafe acts, unsafe conditions, and near-miss incidents must be reported. When driving a vehicle, the driver and passengers must wear seatbelts. Obey all traffic rules, including the specified speed limits. When ascending or descending the stairways, use the handrail and take one step at a time. Barricades or flagging are required around hazardous work areas, such as holes in decking and floor surfaces, trenches, road crossings, and overhead hazardous work. Use only proper tools and equipment, maintained in a safe working condition. Homemade tools are prohibited. Keep work areas clean at all times. Smoking is allowed only in designated areas. The same restriction applies to eating or resting. Use proper manual lifting techniques. All operating machinery and electrical switchgear shall have safety guards, switches, and alarms that should be in place and functional. Whenever a safety device is removed from service and/or defeated, the appropriate supervisor and affected parties shall be notified. The device should be tagged, and action should be properly documented. All block valves on pressure relief systems in service shall be chain-locked or car-sealed open. All fire extinguishers and other emergency equipment shall be in good condition, inspected regularly, and kept clear of any obstruction. All chemical or hazardous material containers shall be properly labeled and stored. Drums shall be stored in secondary containment areas. Climbing or standing on equipment, pipelines, valves, or unstable surfaces, such as chairs or barrels, to perform work is prohibited. Approved fall protection measures, such as safety harnesses or scaffolding, shall be used if the working height is greater than 1.8 meters or 6 feet from the floor or platform level. Running in work areas is prohibited except during emergencies. Finger rings, wristwatches, jewelry, loose clothing, unsecured long hair, and other loose accessories shall not be worn within an arm's reach of rotating equipment or electrical switchgear. Do not apply compressed air or other gases to yourself or others. Operating equipment having a danger do not operate hold tag is prohibited. No work shall be started in any area or on any equipment without the consent of Petro Rābīg person in charge. Non-approved electrical or electronic devices, such as cellular phones, pagers, and instruments, shall not be used in classified areas unless properly permitted. Horseplay or fighting on Petro Rābīg premises is prohibited. Petro Rābīg approved hard hats and safety shoes must be worn in the plant. Metallic hard hats are prohibited. Safety eyeglasses with side shields shall be worn. Eye and face protection must be worn where falling objects could enter the eye or cause injury to the face. Recommended personal protective equipment, as specified in the hazard bulletins, must be used while handling hazardous material. Use of earplugs or earmuffs is mandatory in the high noise areas of the plant. Proper gloves should be used while performing tasks that could burn or injure the hand. Proper self-contained breathing apparatus, or SCBA, for non-respirable environment or confined space entries shall be used. The SCBA shall be certified and the user properly trained in using the equipment. In addition, some hazard-specific PPEs shall be worn in certain hazardous areas. Loose clothing is not permitted in the restricted areas. All personnel must wear tight, long-sleeve shirt, trousers, or coveralls. Mobile phones are not permitted inside restricted areas. All visitors must log in their names and have a visitor card from control room before entering the restricted areas. Photography within the company premises is prohibited unless you are authorized to do so. However, in restricted areas, even for use of the authorized camera, a hot work permit is required. The permit is issued by the proponent or the area owner. In addition, all suspicious activities should be immediately reported to the security. In Petro Rābig, we are fully prepared to deal with emergencies. Including fires or explosions, flammable vapor release, toxic gas release, hazardous material spills, medical cases, oil spills and threats, and terrorist acts. Different types of sirens are used to notify the personnel in case of disaster. Please listen to the following sirens carefully. For fire, sweep tone continuous. For gas leakage, alternative high and low 50 cycles per minute. For all clear, continuous tone for 1 minute. This siren is tested every Saturday at 12 noon. Reporting procedures should be as follows. Use the nearest available telephone. Call 911 from the landline or call 02-425-0911 from a mobile. Also, inform your supervisor immediately. Say, "This is an emergency." Identify the incident location. Describe the incidents and report any injury. Give your name and badge number. Repeat the above information. Wait until Security Control Center ends your call. Your action during an emergency. If an emergency occurs, stop the work. Do not panic and remain calm. Turn off all relevant equipment and machinery. If driving, take to one side. Park your vehicle. And turn off the engine. Leave the ignition key in the vehicle. Leave the door unlocked. Avoid any path which may lead to any accident. Proceed to the nearest assembly point, ensuring that you are in upwind position of the incident zone. You are now looking at the map of our facilities, where the emergency assembly areas are marked. The emergency assembly points are identified for each area. Head count of employees is done at the assembly points. Report for any missing person. Remain at assembly points until emergency all clear siren is heard. Then report to your direct supervisor. In Petro Rābig Company, various chemicals are processed and stored as raw materials and as finished products. There is risk of fire, spill, leak, and gas release due to these chemicals, which can cause serious harm to people or property damage. In refinery facilities, there is a risk of hydrogen sulfide gas, which could cause serious harm to people if released. As mentioned earlier in the emergency plan, upon hearing of gas leak alarm, you have to leave the area in an upwind or crosswind direction. Reach the nearest assembly point. H2S is flammable, explosive, highly toxic, and a colorless gas. It is heavier than air and has a tendency to accumulate in low-grade areas. Remember, you cannot rely on your nose or sense of smell to detect H2S gas. At higher concentrations, your nose will fail to register the smell of H2S gas. Proper respiratory protection, such as SCBA set, must be worn before any attempt can be made to rescue H2S victims. Please note that any 30-second continuous H2S exposure can lead to dizziness and eventually loss of consciousness within a few minutes if H2S concentration is above 500 ppm. At the end of your visit, please make sure to return your visitor card. Your cooperation in adherence to safety regulations is highly appreciated. Thank you very much for listening and watching this short safety orientation film. We hope you have a safe and enjoyable visit to Btro Rābīg.